Today's video is about Arriba being lifted off the truck with the crane and onto the cradle in the yard down in the south coast. I was down there on holiday and took the opportunity to drop in and caught up with Shaun from General Yachts JB. Shaun was kind enough to have a look over the old survey that was done about 15 years ago and took the time to chat with me about the boat and about boats generally. It was a really good day in the yard, just catching up with him and getting a bit of a plan about what we're going to do and how we're going to restore Arriba going forward. Okay, so we're here with Shaun. Shaun's a shipwright with what's the company called?
General Yachts JB.
General Yachts JB. Give Shaun a call. He's a great bloke, very honest, and we're just having a look at Arriba today. And Shaun's going to give me some bad news and some good news, but just a really honest appraisal of the boat and what might be involved in restoring her. Shaun, you were just saying there's a decision that you have to make at the start of a project like this. Do I just go and buy a cruising yacht that's ready to go and spend the money, or do I probably spend an equivalent amount of money or even more money on restoring an old boat? Is that kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, and also being a timber boat, a lot more maintenance, a lot more ongoing costs, a lot more issues that can arise where, fiberglass boats do. They have the same sort of, problems, but not as much.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know if you're going to be out on the boat wet rubbing it and making it look nice and revarnishing the timber, or if you pay someone to do that, where a fiberglass boat with a fiberglass deck, you can leave it alone for 6 months and come back to it and it's still in good condition.
Yeah.
You can go and get it buffed up, anti-foul it, and off you go again.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so there's a lot more maintenance in a timber boat and ongoing costs.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I was going to run onto the rocks when I'm cruising on something, I'd like a fiberglass boat compared to a timber boat.
Why's that?
It's stronger.
Yeah, right.
I love working timber boats. It's my passion. I started doing timber boats because I got straight A's in timber work and metal work at school, and I left when I was 15 and started my apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So I love my timber work. The prerequisite for me was to make the fiberglass hull, and then I'd get to do the bulkheads and the timber work inside. You might do 3 to 4 months of cabinetry and timber works, and get sticks of wood come down from Sydney of teak, and machine them up, make them beautiful, put them in place, glue it up, varnish them, do all the veneers, and that was satisfying. That when you'd launch the boat, wow, look what I made.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful, satisfying job.
Yeah.
You got to do the dirty job just to get to the good part. But I say, I love timber. And
well, let's talk about the dirty jobs. Yeah. Take me through it, Shaun. Let's just go for a bit of a walkthrough.
Well, initially on this boat, we need to get the keel bolts undone, because as you can see down here, there's it's an area, and especially in the report, that they come to us as well, and they said that this is... the one of the main things that eats a timber boat out is teredo worm. Yeah. Now, it's hard to tell how far that worm's gone. Yeah. Okay, and if they started in there and thought this is great, it might travel the whole way down inside this. Yeah. And you don't know until you start cutting it away. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. And that's a hard thing to say. We're in a bad point of a fiberglass boat's osmosis, but it's normally in small bubbles that you can grind out and repair easily. Yeah. It's not like an animal that's eating away and loving something. So I've got to say to you, the keel needs to come off. Yeah. In doing that, undo the keel bolts. We need to lift the boat up with the crane. Yeah. And then once that's up in the air, I suggest that we flip it upside down to refair the top sides, repaint it, undo anything that's rubbish inside here, like cutting away where it's been eaten out, fixing back on some more material, making it solid enough that we can reattach the keel. Yeah. Okay, and that's a bit of work.
Can you lift it up and use the props to prop it up, and then drop the keel down, and then rest it back down on the props again with the keel down?
Yeah, but you might have keel bolts this long in it.
Oh, right. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
So then I could have to lift it up and then get something to drag that lead out of the way, and then I could work on it up this way, which is fine. I mean, we don't have to flip it upside down, but as you say, just doing the fairing and the top sides and everything like that, and it depends on how much work's under there, it can become easier.
Yeah. And what happens to, I was wondering this, what happens to worms when they're
in there
out
now?
Of the wall? Yeah,
dry it out, they die.
Reproduce? Are they like termites? Do they just eat the whole thing out, or it's just one or two?
You don't know until you excavate and have a look, okay, honestly. But by being, I just can't tell you until you look at it.
Yeah.
I'd have to get, as I say, the best thing is to get the hull sandblasted to unearth the glass.
Yeah.
And once you see what's underneath here, and underneath the glass, you'll see if there's rotten patches. If the sandblaster hits it and there's no material behind the glass because it's been eaten out by the worm, it will just disintegrate, and then it will show you up, oh look here, okay, this is where you need to attend to. I'd like to say that no, this has been glassed down on there, then they've put the sacrificial wood on, which has then been glassed over, and there should be a layer of glass in between that which the worm would have hit and stopped. But there's nothing to say that that's been exactly built like that as well.
I was thinking about just grinding the entire, like taking the fiberglass off, back to the plywood, and then you'd be able to see, or that's not necessary?
No, well it's not necessary. The sandblast, I'd get this blasted heavily, which will remove this fiberglass, and up here he just coats it lightly with the sand until the paint comes off and you get it back to the fiberglass, okay?
Yeah, right.
And then, as I say, to do that, all that work up above, it's a lot more difficult. And you see where, like these patches where the bubbles are?
Yeah.
Well then, we need to clear that up. Generally speaking, you see how you got the gloss on this epoxy?
Yeah.
Yep. What happens is if you don't sand that gloss off, it's like trying to stick something to a mirror.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to stick to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you think you've got it all, but there's parts where you don't, and then people go and paint over it.
Yep.
And then it's great for a few years, and then all of a sudden it starts to let go, more let go, and then you look underneath it and you see all these glossy parts of epoxy. We'll lift it up, take the curl off and assess what's underneath here.
Yep.
Get the hole sandblasted, and then we can have a good look underneath the fiberglass at exactly what we need to attack.
Yeah, okay.
Now, being double diagonal planked, it's good, and it's been strip planked. Double diagonal, it's a strong boat. It is strong, and hopefully the worm has only eaten out that sacrificial bit of timber down underneath there.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that there'd be. So what would be between
I'm thinking,
there and the strip plank, or like?
I'm thinking that this would have gone down, and then underneath here they would have bolted on a solid bit of wood. Now,
in that report they talk about a piece of
Oregon.
That's right, out of an old house. Yeah.
So I'm believing that's been, this planking's come down and they've underneath the boat, and then the last bit is bolted the Oregon on, done a little glass over it, and that big Oregon beam's been shaped, and then they've bolted the keel up through it. Into the Oregon.
So how does the Oregon connect with the rest of the boat there, Shaun?
Well, after it's been glassed under, you'll epoxy the Oregon on.
Yeah.
And then the keel bolts up through there are compressing the Oregon on as well.
And the keel bolts bolt down in through
the big rib stringers. Well, like, you've got the frames that are inside the boat, which we'll go up and see.
Yeah.
Now those frames are quite large in this boat, and it's good structural inside.
Yeah.
Now those keel bolts go up through the keel, which are obviously set into the lead when they make it.
Yep.
Up through the Oregon sacrificial bit of timber, which is glassed over it, in through those
and
frames.
then the centre line, they bolt into a centre line, or they bolt into...
No, they're just individually bolted through the frames of the boat.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's get up on top. Scared the hell out of me when I was walking around.
What was that?
Just scary. Yeah. The height, like, it's like when I got up there last time, it was up on the truck, so it was actually like a couple of feet higher.
Yep.
I didn't realise how high it is, but like, you know, you're a good couple of metres up off the ground.
It is.
I was up there moving timber around and doing stuff. It was scary as hell.
Yeah. I guess you get more accustomed to it the more you do it.
If we flip it over, or if we leave it here like this, I was thinking about scaffolding or putting a safety rail around the side. What do you think? Like,
100%, because you can't do it without it. If you're fiberglassing and trying to work just back, it's difficult, you know. You need to sand and fair. It needs to be scaffolded for sure. Okay? You want that gunnel there just at about your waist height, so you can work around it and work over it. And then once that's deck's done and you've done the corner, then we can drop the scaffold down to do the top sides. Because once again, if I'm spraying, you don't want to be up and down a ladder. You do all the fairing, make it all nice and smooth. And then you're doing all the priming, all the sanding, all the fairing. So you need the next scaffold layer, and then the final drop it down and do the hull and paint the hull.
What do you think about, see there where the planking meets the deck, where it's all rotted away up in there? Yep.
Well, it's exactly the same as this point here.
Yeah.
Until you start cutting it away, Mark, you don't know how far that water's penetrated in. Look, if salt water doesn't rot the boat, it's the fresh water. Salt water just petrifies timber. So that deck's just been a little crack in it where the double diagonal planking's finished. then the deck's being done, and it's just cracked along the edge, and
Yeah.
the water's started running in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know until you start cutting that away like this, that how far that repairs needs to come away.
Yeah.
Looking at it, but you can, to me, it's about 150 mils down. Yeah, you can
Oh,
see it
yeah.
sort of flick up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just where the rotted timber, it swells like a wheat bix, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's just something, it's like a timber boat. It's unknown until you start cutting and how far that the repair
Yeah.
needs to go.
Yeah.
It's
The other question, these are scallions, or what are they?
the chain plates.
Chain plates?
Yep.
How do you know that they're secure? Like,
It's on the inside where the bolts go through the wood. Now,
Yeah.
we've got to go and check that and make sure that there's no rot behind that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty simple, but they do look quite solid.
Yeah.
It's one of the points that you've got to highlight, like the keel bolts when you're doing a survey of the boat. That's a typical point that's going to rot out. Now, look, as I say, you think it's all good and you have it sealed around there,
Yeah.
but then you put a rig on it and put tension on the rig and you've got a huge sail area pulling,
Yeah.
and something's going to move.
well, that's what I want to know, like whether it'll pull out or not.
No, well, that's definitely, you don't want it to pull out, okay? And just being that it's bolted on quite sufficiently on the inside, then I looked at it before and I didn't see much leaking around it. I didn't
Yeah.
see any much rot.
Yeah.
I thought they're pretty substantial. The inside of the boat looks good. It's a solid boat.
Yeah.
Has been built solid, but just it's been let go.
It's got that, it's like there's been a strip of protective glass or something on there that's peeled off over the years.
Yep.
You know, the difference in the colour there.
Yeah, look, you can see where they've had something on there. I don't know exactly what it is, but there has not been any glass put over the joint.
Yeah.
Because there's no point, they've just sealed it up with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say that it's just been something previously anti-fouled on there and the paint's lifted off. It looks to me like it's been put epoxy down.
Yeah.
And then they haven't sanded the epoxy.
Yeah.
They go and put anti-foul on it. Once again, like this up here, they don't sand it, they go and paint over it.
Yeah.
See, they've done this silicon join, this join in here,
Yeah.
painted some epoxy over it,
Yeah.
anti-fouled it,
Yeah.
and then the anti-foul's fallen off because they haven't sanded the epoxy.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And so, like I say, they're nothing. Thick stuff doesn't like to stick to epoxy unless you sand it back.
Because it would have been nice, like I guess it would have prevented that worm, or things getting in
Yeah,
between. Because that's
yeah.
a real issue there. That join.
That
isn't
join
it?
is, and you can see that it's actually puffed a bit here as well. So that tells
Yeah.
me that there's some underlying issues. But yeah, look, in an ideal world, once you bolt this back up, you'd glass over this and encapsulate the lead,
Yep.
and then you're never going to have that issue of that join problem.
Yeah. Right.
Other issues are with like this rudder. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's shot. That needs to be redone. We don't know how far that rot's all gone in it, but I'd say it's probably easier to make a new one. Pull that stock out, run a knife of a diamond saw down there,
Yeah.
pop the blade off and make a new blade to put back on there. Because
Yeah.
I'd say that that's going to be quicker to do that than to repair that. Yeah?
So that whole blade. So that's metal. Yeah.
No, that's wood.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So you see all the wood in there. Yeah. Now this
Yeah.
this is always going to be an issue around any top of the stock on any boat. Is where water will get in. That's why you've got the worm rot down in the side there.
Yeah.
Yep. And the last thing,
Oh,
yeah, look at
Let's
that,
get a
mate.
shot of that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The last thing you want is your rudder falling off.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting because this has got
Two.
this rudder here and then the smaller
Yeah,
one at the back here.
I think that's that wing vane rudder now.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, because there's a piece at the top
So
there.
that's it. Look, this is shot too. You can see where this timber. It's got all the worm in it.
Yeah.
See how the worm's eating all that out.
Yeah. So you got to replace
Yeah, so
that
you've got
as
muscles
well.
going in there. So
Yeah,
once again,
I was gonna
Get a feed, hang on.
Alan, I was going to sell the muscles later, mate. Yeah.
once again,
help pay for the repairs of the boat. Is any of this salvageable?
yeah. The stainless stock is fine.
Yeah.
Unless it's highly bent,
Yeah.
which it's not. It's still turning very
Yeah.
nicely. Yeah. You once again cut it off, clean up the stock, make a new blade, put it on it, and glass over it.
Yeah.
But you can see, as I say, it's always that weak point up the top
Yeah.
where the worm's going to get in, and around this point, to glass the timber onto it. But it's
Yeah.
just a weak point in it. Now, look, this looks like mild steel bolts through here. That needs to be. Once again, when you're doing it, I'll remove that plate, pull it off.
Yep.
There's the crack down underneath it here, which runs all the way through to the
It
stem.
does. So what's going on here?
The wood's moving. Okay, as the wood dries out,
Yeah.
the two double diagonal planks are meeting here.
So that's the wood moving, but then it's cracking the glass
Yeah,
and everything
'cause-
on top of it as well.
Like I say, the glass layer that's put on there is just a thin layer of it's not very structural.
Yeah.
It's just a sealing layer of glass.
Yeah.
Now, in the areas like this, it needs to be rebated a bit and heavily glassed.
Yeah.
So that's got a bit of strength in the glass as
Yeah.
well. Because once that timber moves, timber boats move.
Yeah.
They do. You know,
Yeah.
it's known. And once things start to move, that's when you get the cracks appear through the glass. Once the cracks appear, then the worms go, yay, let's get in here and have a look and see what we can eat. Now, Oregon's a good timber to put on it, but you just don't know what's underneath it until you start attacking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of unknowns, Mark. Once you start and you start getting into it, then you go, okay, all right, we've done this far now.
Yeah.
Do we stop? Do we keep going?
Okay, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching, and a massive thank you to everybody who is supporting the channel. And a huge thanks to Shaun from General Yachts JB. He took a lot of time out of his schedule to go through the survey and to meet with me and have a look over Arriba. I learned a massive amount today, and it was a really good day. I'll put a link to Shaun's details in the description, and don't forget to reach out to Shaun if you're in the market for yacht repairs or yacht builds or things like that. Okay, so thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on this video. It really helps us with our YouTube metrics, and I'll see you next time.